Good day, familia. This is Rafael Rey Collazo. You're watching and listening to the Collazo Show and the Collazo Show podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you particularly for our Substack subscribers. Bit of a tongue twister. We premiere our episodes. Every episode is premiered first. The video episode is premiered first on Substack. Then you can see it on YouTube at the Collazo Show, which we encourage you to subscribe to both Substack and YouTube, particularly for some of the snippets on YouTube. But we really encourage people to subscribe primarily on video form on Substack. It's where you're going to see the episodes first, and we want to really build up our Substack community so we can have this kind of engagement and continue these conversations about the issues at the intersection of leadership, politics, and cultura, which is, that's the corner you're at right now with the Collazo Show. Also, thank you for our audio files, the Collazo Show podcast listeners, which you can listen to our podcast everywhere. We have friends all over the world. I just noticed we're getting an uptick in people listening de Ecuador. Un saludo a los ecuatorianos. I know you're getting excited for your World Cup and a wonderful country. So I'm very into politics down there. So, of course, they're checking out what's going on with the Collazo Show. This is one of the great series we're having here, Meet the Candidate series. We have so many wonderful emerging leaders that are going to emerge into the national stage in 2026. We've seen people like our new Congresswoman, Analilia Mejia, who's been doing this work a whole long time, who's now in Congress. So you're going to see others who are going to be winning elections. Some are going to be expected. Some are going to be big surprises, and some are sort of in between, who are going to emerge as national figures. And not all of these Latino leaders are going to be from places you expect. And that's why we wanted to bring on a great friend to the show, who's a very well-known leader, not just in her home state of South Carolina, but also really a national Latina leader already, who has networks and leadership, is well-known, not just in the colony of the United States, but our native Puerto Rico. Let's welcome to the show for the first time, but the first of many appearances here on the Collazo Show. Great friend to the show, national Latina leader, but also Democratic candidate for the South Carolina's first congressional seat. Great friend, Mayra Rivera-Vazquez. Mayra, muy buenos días. Dios lo bendiga.
Hola, buenas tardes. Buenos días. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me, and honored to be finally in your Collazo Show.
Oh, I appreciate that, Mayra. It's a real pleasure. We first met at the DNC, and we actually participated. Well, there were several events going on there, and we participated at an event. I forget the exact name, but it was at a Puerto Rican Cultural Center in Chicago, which is very well recognized in the Puerto Rican and really the Latino arts community. It's a wonderful space there that Mr. Ocasio and that team runs. And so we had a few activities on the north side of Chicago in the Puerto Rican community, and then we've kept in touch since then. And when people introduced me, they said, well, you got to meet Mayra from South Carolina. She's a go-getter and someone on the come up. So Mayra, before we get into this incredible historic run you have for Congress, I want people to get a little bit know about you. So Mayra Rivera-Vazquez, where did this journey in leadership and advocacy begin for you?
Well, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I was born in Caguas, the centro y corazón de Puerto Rico, the center and the heart of Puerto Rico. I'm a proud criolla. I'm coming from, I wasn't born into privilege. I'm coming from a low-income, middle-class family. My parents taught me all the values about hard work, faith, and community. They invest everything on my education, so I'm first-generation college graduate in my family. So I have a BA in economics, a Juris Doctor, and a Master in international law and foreign trade. I am who I am because of the island. I study and graduate from the University of Puerto Rico. I'm a proud UP Jerezana graduate. And I worked for 20 years in Puerto Rico as a public servant for towns and cities and for the state legislature. So I'm proud of being a public servant, working in the community all my life, trying to provide more, fighting against poverty and providing more economic justice to unserved communities. That's who I am. I learned that from my parents, so I'm proud of that, and now I'm in this journey running for Congress.
it was so heartwarming to get to know you, and not only being a Puerto Rican advocate and someone that your story is so relatable to so many of us watching, but particularly my life. And I've shared with you that I kind of have three towns in Puerto Rico I claim. My mother was born and raised in Orocovis, Puerto Rico, went to Dominicana Barranquitas, and that story. And then my dad was my grandmother's side on my dad's side, the Rosados from Macau. My dad was born in Macau, and I still claim that. We still have some family there, the Rosado family. Pero los Collazos somos de Caguas because
I
my
know.
grandfather was
I
raised.
have good friends, last names Collazo.
Yeah, and that's a whole story. Got there Benitez, the high school right across the talk about Criollos fan. The reason I'm such a passionate baseball fan was my grandfather grew up literally across the street from the stadium in the 30s.
Yeah, the Ildefonso Solá Morales.
Claro que sí. And so that's my team and our heritage, and that is the team for people that follow baseball but don't know
That's
Puerto Rican
team.
baseball. Well, that's my squad
team.
too. Well, we have the most championships in the island. That's a whole other story. But Alex Cora, who just got released from the Red Sox, the Cora family, that's their pueblo.
Close friend of my family too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, good, really wonderful people. So the roots are strong. And we know that when I'm on the island, to be honest, I mean, I love the other towns, but when I'm in Caguas, I'm like, you know what? If I had been raised on the island, this would have been my vibe here in Caguas. Wonderful city. And much respect to all our Cagueños out there. But so Mayra, you've through family, you moved, I think it was about 16, 17 years ago to South Carolina. So tell us what you've been doing in South Carolina and what made you decide to throw your hat in the ring, to run, to represent South Carolina in the 1st Congressional District.
Well, I moved almost like 2 decades ago to South Carolina. My husband was working for the Department of the Navy, and that's the reason we moved here. And I kept doing my job. You know, I've been a community organizer all my life. So since I moved here, I keep, being part of several nonprofits, Habitat for Humanity, another organization providing services to survivors of domestic violence, member of a low country coalition on immigration. I worked 6 years on immigration office. And also I served in the Democratic Party, being the first Latina elected county chair of my county, Beaufort County. And that was like, I didn't know that it was Jamie Harrison that once I got elected, he told me, Mayra, do you know that you were the first Latina ever in both parties to be an elected county chair?
So I just want to give people, so we're talking Jamie Harrison, who ran the DNC for many years.
Yeah. Yes.
And if you're the county chair of the Democratic Party, if not the largest, one of the largest counties in the state, you're working very closely with the legendary Congressman Jay Clyburn, who everyone knows was the blessing for Biden. So I just want to pause because I want people watching this to understand that Mayra Rivera-Vazquez, una criolla aquí, una boricua de verdad aquí, is not only an activist and an organizer, but she is on the highest levels of South Carolina Democratic politics and national leaders. All of you know very well. And they all tell me that behind the scenes, Mayra is the powerhouse that helps make things happen for the state Democratic Party.
Thank you. And you mentioned Clyburn. Clyburn is one of my mentors. He has a political fellowship, and I was part of his second class. So I've been guided by him and his advice and wisdom. And one of the main reasons I got elected chair in Beaufort County was immediately I graduated from that fellowship, I got elected. And I served for 4 years as a county chair under my leadership. We won the district I'm running right now after more than 15 years with Joe Cunningham. So I built a strong coalition, and Beaufort was the one that gave him the winning on that race in 2018. I also served as an officer of the party as a vice chair for 3 years before I decided to run. So when I decided to run is because I've been, working as a community organizer, as a part of the party around the district, and I see all the potential that we have. We are in the lowest of everything in terms of the state, in education, in healthcare. And when you have no representation and you have all the potential and good people, hardworking people, a diverse district. My district is really diverse. 10% of the population is Latina. We having almost 10,000 Puerto Ricans living here.
Mira vaya. And you have a significant African American population, which people
Yeah, we
wouldn't
are
think. When they
more
think of a
than
red
40,
district, they don't
40,
think.
45%, 40% is African American. We have a really diverse district. And I think that, with my experience in government, with my knowledge and my passion, and to provide really justice and representation to people. And that's the reason I decided to run. I think the demographic has changed. This district is winnable. I think that the party it could flip the seat. Even DCCC already put this district on the eye to watch as one of the flippable. So in order to provide justice and build a new American dream, the ones that we have right now is not working anymore. That's the reason I'm running.
You said something there, Mayra, that I want people to reflect on, because oftentimes the people that are doing the work on the ground see the potential before the party and the national pundits. Because I'm telling people around the country, especially these emerging districts in the South, and this is something that a decade ago, and even to some Harrison, Clyburn, and Stacey Abrams were a part of this, saying that the South is changing, the South is evolving. Yeah. We need to invest in particularly Black voters, but diverse communities. Black Latinos and AAPI communities were a big part of the Stacey Abrams coalitions and the Georgia coalition that has made it purplish. And so when you told me that this was doable, I knew that you were a year ahead of the pundits, and now people are seeing, and we're seeing this in other districts around the country, that we're advocating for investment in, because even if it was a 10-12% district for Trump a few years ago, the Democrats in that election did very little investment in those kind of communities. And we're seeing the evolution very quickly. Mayra, when you're going on in your district, talking to community residents, what are you hearing on the ground? What are people's concerns in the first district in South Carolina that you're running?
It's mostly, kitchen table issues, affordability. People are really struggling regarding affordable housing. Daycare is really killing the budget of a lot of working families. The average of population here age is 41 years old. So we are having a really younger population here. But sometimes paying for daycare here is more higher than paying for rent. And 30% of our district, they are designated like daycare deserts. We don't have places to that our families could put the children on daycare. So that's less income to families because one of them has to stay home. And then with housing, that's the issue. Housing is really hard. The groceries, with all this tariff and nonsense that we're having for this administration, has been killing the budget of the families. Healthcare, with the slash of money that this big ugly bill that they approved that took a lot of money from Medicare and Medicaid and healthcare, people are paying 2-3 times what they were paying last year in premiums. And until we add that with the tariff, and we never seen here in South Carolina like a strategic economic plan. I live in the district where we have in the Port of Charleston. We are the heart of the economy in the state. And we don't have a plan. We could be with this tariff, all the agriculture, all the port. I've been talking with, the long-term men in ILA in the port with the unions, and the jobs are going down because, they're not having a lot of more merchandise to bring here.
Because the tariffs are discouraging that commerce. And it's so interesting, Mayra, because, and I do want to ask you about you hit on some of the local dynamics that you're facing in your congressional race, but we're seeing a lot of the same thing around the country in different flavors, different degrees, because if you're talking about growing an economy and addressing some of the issues you're talking about, you want to encourage, you want to give people as much opportunity to be part of the workforce fundamentally. And when we're talking about childcare, which is such an hindrance to younger families, and especially for working women to work. And then you could even get into the issues around, women's reproductive health and how that impacts their work flexibility. But the other part of that you hit on is whether it's build the docks that you talked about, the longshoremen,
Mhm.
or the homes that we need to build, that we need to renovate, who's going to do that work, fam? Who's going to
Yeah.
build the house? Who's going to do the sheetrock? There's a good chance it's going to be a diverse person, a young person, a Latino, and a
Yes.
decent,
Yes.
real good decent going to be an immigrant. And
And
instead of encouraging that, and by the way, who's going to buy the houses? It's going to be these young families, which are very diverse and disproportionately Hispanic, especially in places like South Carolina. And you're right, there's so much potential to it. And I think about Charleston, Maida, that a lot of us, our families go there for the military, and then we see the beauty. It reminds us of home. The Charleston, the el ambiente with the nature and the coastline, the food. It's a great food city, and so there's a lot of things that appeal to our community. So we want to move to a place like South Carolina, but we need opportunities. So, Maida, share with us what are one or two of the tenets of your platform that you're pushing, that you would fight for the residents of the first congressional district once you're in Congress.
well, I'm talking about to build a new American dream. A new American dream that offer is based on opportunities, fairness, and dignity. And I be tackled down affordability. Providing universal daycare, raising the minimum wage, have an affordable and fair health care that we could transition to Medicare for all. Fully funding public school and having universal pre-K. I think that we want that our younger people build their careers here in South Carolina and stay here. And we need to funding, our colleges, try to find ways to have public technical colleges that they could pay tuition. I think that, again, increase and improve our economy, having good trades that bring good jobs, but also provide access to financing to small businesses. Small businesses is the heart of the economy in the whole country. And we protect our environment, as you mentioned. We love our low country way of life, and we are against offshore drilling. We are protecting our marsh. We want to do sustainable infrastructure and rehabilitation of areas, but always protecting our environment. And also, extremely important, protecting our Social Security and our Medicare. As you mentioned, my district have a lot of pockets of retirees, but we also have a lot. The district is the highest in population of veterans. And we need to protect and provide more services after they fight and protect us with pride and serve the country. I think they deserve, as a minimum, a good retirement and good life. And I'm not going to leave that out of on my issues is immigration. I think that even that we have to keep protecting our borders. We need a real, fair, respectful to the human being immigration reform, but also hold accountable those agencies that are not doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. My district is really diverse. 30% of our workforce is in construction. 30% of our immigrants are working in agriculture. 69% of our all immigrant population is in the workforce. We pay immigrants pay more than $4 trillion in state, federal, local taxes. The spending power is more than $10.2 billion. So we are here making a contribution to improve the quality of life of every South Carolinian. So immigration is important to me, and be a voice for that.
Mayra, I'm curious. I'm sure people watching this are curious, and we're talking to Mayra Rivera-Vazquez, emerging Latina national leader, very well known in South Carolina, and particularly sort of the national Puerto Rican leadership network around the country. But she's throwing her hat in the ring. Very seasoned Democratic political operative in South Carolina, who's now throwing her hat in the ring in the Democratic primary for the first congressional district. For people that aren't, this is Nancy Mace's congressional district. She's running for governor, so she needs someone to replace her. And why not Mayra Rivera-Vazquez? Mayra, I'm curious before we get into our break, how are the immigration conversation? We talked to Democratic voters in your district. What reaction are you getting? What are their? We're hearing from people all over the country, regardless how they felt about how immigration a couple years ago. They don't really like what they're seeing now. What are you hearing from voters when you talk about immigration issues and ICE enforcement, some of the things that are happening in our country right now?
But it's really interesting because a lot of people are really upset of the way this administration is handling immigration, especially the way that they are taking out and sending to deportation people that really have no criminal record. And even for my area, we having areas like Hilton Head that is based mostly the economy on tourism, and all the people that working in landscape, working in hospitality, working on medical services. A lot of them are immigrants, and they are concerned that they are losing workforce because of that. And I've been talking with a lot of even Republicans that when I call them and I talk to them, I always ask them, what are the main, tell me what are your main, the most important issues to you? And they always bring the immigration factor. They said, we never talk, we never vote for this. I think that we are a nation of immigrants. I think that if they come in here to work and to contribute to the nation, we need to allow them to do so. And the process that we are doing, we are not taking out the criminal that they promote to do. They taking the good ones. And even for the Latino and some immigrant community, non-Latino, they are really excited about my candidacy because they also looking for representation. Claro. They said that they know how the growth of immigrants and Latinos here in the Low Country and in the state, and they are ready. They say we are ready to have real representation in Congress. I think that it's time that we having a seat there, that people listen to us, and having someone that looks like us sitting there and fighting for us.
It's interesting. So people don't. I'm not surprised by that comment. And if people know their political history over the last 20, 25 years, a character in the national politics that almost kind of is a character or something, he comes off very clownish now. But there was a time not too long ago, less than 20 years ago, Mayra, you know this very well, less than 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, where one of your senators, Lindsey Graham, was always on the forefront of trying to get immigration reform passed. He was always working with McCain, and I've seen him reference at multiple events that the impact that his Latino colleagues in the military meant to him as a military person in his career. So he's had a long-standing relationship with the Latino community. He doesn't come out a lot, and was always a champion to try to figure this out.
Yeah.
So there is a strand of, even in the conservative circles in South Carolina, that understand the impact of immigration and understand that, there's rhetoric and then there's the reality of the situation. And then what was the name of the other congressman? Remember the one that ran away with an Argentinian woman? ¿Cómo se llamó él?
Max Sanford.
Max Sanford. So look at that. He fell in love with a Latina immigrant. He disappeared for a while. So there's a lot of history there with South Carolina, even with the Republicans. Mayra, I'm going to show a best of clip from a previous episode from a few years back. It's going to put a smile on your face. Then we come back. I want to hear a little bit more. You have a competitive primary coming up. Mm-hmm. So let's hear about the election, when that's coming up, and what you need from our Collazo Show community to support you down the home stretch. We're going to watch a best of by podcaster clip. This was a special Puerto Rican, virtual Puerto Rican celebration we had a few years back. Going to put a smile on your face, kind of big celebrities in it. We'll come back and talk to South Carolina congressional candidate Mayra Rivera-Vazquez on the Collazo Show.
I got a few questions for you, okay? I've been dying to ask a Puerto Rican chef que wears a Puerto Rican hat, got cuatros in the background, got a flag. You represent, okay. Okay, here we go. Ready? Pastelillo de guayaba, ¿con queso o sin queso?
Oh, sin queso.
Thank you. Oh my God. Where the church?
Sin queso.
When they put queso in that, yo me pongo tan malo. Why you putting queso, man? I said guayaba. I don't need queso. You know what? Use that space and put more guayaba. Okay.
That's it.
Pastele. ¿Con ketchup o sin ketchup?
Con ketchup.
This is my man, yo.
Oh my God.
Don't get more Puerto Rican than that. Much respect to Ellen
No.
Castro, tremendous.
I don't
comedian.
agree. Pastelillos de guayaba. No queso.
Yo estoy de acuerdo contigo.
No.
I'm not into the ketchup.
No. It's like
Maybe.
the quesitos. Quesito is quesito.
Claro.
It's not quesito con guayaba. It's quesito.
I'm with you on that, but the other one I'm disagreeing with Chef Gregorio because I don't like the ketchup. I don't like ketchup on our stuff.
And I love the pasteles con ketchup. Oh my God.
De verdad,
Oh yeah.
Pique maybe on a good day. My thing is when a pastel is good, it don't need nothing. It's so good anyway. But we're talking to Mayra Rivera-Vazquez. I thought that put a smile on your face. There are a lot of great people in that clip. So what we love, go back into my archives. We've done a lot of great moments with people like that and our culture, and we're going to continue to incorporate the culture and the artists into our programming here on the Collazo show. So Mayra, so you have a Democratic primary June 9th.
Yes.
As you mentioned to me before we started recording, early vote starts a few weeks before that because it's only about 5 weeks or so from people actually starting to vote in the Palmetto State. Tell us about your primary and tell us, let people know, because everyone watching this, if they don't live in South Carolina, they got somebody connected in that Charleston area. So give people a rough sketch of the community there so people can identify where they may have family in your part of South Carolina and how they can help, how they can be part of this winning coalition for Mayra Rivera-Vazquez to be the first Latina to represent us in Congress from the state of South Carolina.
Well, thank you for asking me that. We having a primary in June 9th. The primary for both parties in South Carolina. On my side, as a Democrat, we having 6 running on that race. I'm proud to say I'm the first and only Latina running in that race for South Carolina for the Congressional District. We having early voting starting on May 26th. That's by law. We having the first 2 weeks, 2 weeks before the election day, we could vote. So technically, I'm already in my get out of vote mood and tone because we are less probably 29 days before people starting to go in early voting. And people could go, vote. It's important. Also, voter registration, the deadline is May 11.
Oh,
so it's important that, especially for the Latinos, that I know that we having first and second generations here that born here. Probably their parents still working on their immigration status, but their children are U.S. citizens that born here that could vote.
Mayra, give people a sketch. Mention some of the towns in the part of South Carolina where the first congressional district is.
Okay,
so people have a visualization of the area you're talking.
The congressional district is all the coast of South Carolina. Okay. We're going from Charleston to Beaufort County. Okay. Beaufort County is the people always recognize that from Hilton Head. So we are really close to the border of Savannah, Georgia. Okay. And it's 6 counties. It's a really spread and broad district. We having Berkeley County. We having Colleton County, Jasper, Charleston, Dorchester, and Beaufort County.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we are talking about our population in the district is over 740,000 people.
Yeah.
But again, we having 10% of the population is Latina. We already have over 14,000 Latinos already registered. And we could grow that number because we having more than 150,000 South Carolinians in the state that could vote, but only registered less than 70,000 in the state. And if we don't vote, we would never gonna be counted. We're never gonna be heard. And that's my call to the Latino and mi familia Latina here. I know that they having children that are U.S. citizens, and that's the best way to speak on behalf of your parents, being a voter. And in these times that we are living right now, it's so important that we get out a vote. And,
I'm putting the challenge out to the Collazo Show family because, first of all, MyDotForCongress.com, you see the crawl. So people who are watching, who are just listening to the show, they don't see the Chiron, but MyDotForCongress.com is where you can go sign up and volunteer, donate to this woman. Most likely you don't live in the district, but we can all donate. She needs resources to get out her voters down the stretch. Obviously, she'll take volunteers. I'm sure people can do phone calls from anywhere. And
yeah, they could do phone calls from everywhere. They could invest. Don't. I never say donate to my campaign. I said invest to the country through my campaign.
I love
because
that.
I'm trying to build a new American dream. The best way is investing through my campaign, and from $1 to until whatever you could do. I have donors. I building a movement from working people, the APA, what we said in Puerto Rico, and any contribution could help me send postcards, put radio ads, be out there, and we could win this seat. I will be proud and honored to represent not only the district, but also all the Puerto Ricans in the diaspora and my people from Puerto Rico in the island. So I'm here to serve, but I need the votes. I need some investment and through contributions so I could get to the final line before June 9th.
Fantastic. And Mayra would be, well, we'll see how all the election on the country lay out, but she would be the 8th Puerto Rican in U.S. in Congress, and would be a tremendous advocate, not just for everyone in South Carolina, because Mayra and the Collazo Show, we're very inclusive. We're about helping everybody. But obviously would be a very strong advocate for not only the Latino community, but also the Puerto Rican community in the emerging South, because as we all know, Puerto Ricans after
South
Maria
is growing. We have to look at the South. It's going to be the stronger area for everything in terms of elections and everything.
I was just in DC and I was talking. I met with a group of Puerto Rican leaders from North Carolina, and they were talking about how they estimate after Hurricane Maria, they estimate 100,000 Puerto Ricans have moved to North Carolina. And I know you know that, and I'm sure you see similar growth.
The same thing happened here in South Carolina in the upstate. We increased. There's a lot more than 30,000 Puerto Ricans is living already in the South.
That's right. Shout out to Anthony Milian, our mutual Puerto Rican South Carolina buddy in South Carolina. So he's also been on the show. So shout out to him as well. Mayra, your final word to the Collazo Show community about your candidacy. Anything else you wanted to share about about this historic moment for you and what the next 6-7 weeks hold for the history of South Carolina politics?
Well, thank you, Ray, for this opportunity to introduce myself to your family and to all the audience that you have in the Collazo Show. I'm running for Congress. I have a primary in June 9th. I really want to serve the people of South Carolina and also, as I mentioned, serve my diaspora, Puerto Rican diaspora, and my Latinos and my people from Puerto Rico. I have a primary in June 9th. You could go to my page, Mayra for Congress, number4congress.com. And if you want to volunteer, you can make phone calls and spread the word. I know that probably you know someone in my district that could vote for me. And also, if you want to make an investment on the campaign, you also could go to Mayra, number4congress.com. It's an historic election. I think that we could flip the seat. I think that we need real representation in Congress and try to improve the quality of life of my voters here in the Low Country.
I am in touch with, I'm blessed because of the work that I do, as you know, Mayra. I'm in touch with probably about, at least a half dozen emerging Latino congressional candidates like yourself. And even a few of them have acknowledged that if this new crop that Alguno de la, the most prepared for this moment is Mayra. So, political observers around the country see your leadership, Mayra, and we look forward to working with you and look forward to you having some very good news coming out of South Carolina June 9th, but we have to all help her to invest in not only your candidacy, specifically Mayra, but I love how you said it. It's about investing in the American dream for everybody, because, con Boricua, we embrace everybody. We want to help everybody. And we need people of Mayra's experience, dedication, and character in U.S. Congress. That's the kind of leadership that we need. And Mayra Rivera-Vazquez will be in touch. Sigalo Criollo, the BSN, the basketball too. We have the Criollos basketball team, which is doing pretty good. But that's another conversation. Mayra Rivera-Vazquez, Democratic candidate for South Carolina Congressional District 1. Best of luck. And thank you all for watching the Collazo Show. Continue to support the Collazo Show by following me on Substack at The Collazo Show on YouTube and The Collazo Show podcast. Muy buena tarde. Dios le bendiga, Mayra.
Thank you.
Nos vemos.
Gracias. Dios los bendiga.